to where, if you're a design district is basically saying there are standards. If you're going to be building franchises or any other sort of building in our historic town, you can't just have a giant golden arches right above your store, because we are going to kind of regulate. You can't do that. This is historic. This is Hawaii also. So the question then becomes kind of enforcing basically a bottom level approach to this kind of things. I don't think we want to have a big picture of Colonel Sanders, a big old white guy munching on some fried chicken as the entrance to a historic Hawaiian town. So the design district is something that was brought up, and I looked at it today just before we met, and it turns out I didn't realize this, but you had actually answered to that post that I had done about how it's a little bit tricky. Do you want to explain the importance or the difficulties involved?
Well, there have been some folks early on. The Pahoa Main Street Association that you mentioned was promoting a design district, and that hasn't quite gotten off the ground. And as near as I can understand from the people who have been promoting it, they don't think they've gotten the support. It requires work on both the part of the county council, and I think there is some state legislative work to be done also. I don't know that a design district is exactly what's needed. The people there want it. I'm certainly going to work with them to support it. But one of the things it does, for example, it requires some uniform architecture, where if you build a new building, it kind of takes on a certain style or certain design. And that's fine. I've seen various towns around the country and other parts of the world that use that. It may be a case where you really have to think, well, what are our objectives? The design district may achieve it. If you're wanting to preserve the historic nature of it, of the village itself, design district is one way. There may be others, but it's one of those situations where I think I had rather ask the community, well, what are your goals here? Are you wanting to preserve the district? Are you wanting to keep traffic down? Are you wanting to have a certain sort of businesses come in? Do you want more restaurants? Are you wanting more shops? Do you want more retail outlets to serve the local community? And then say, okay, what are your objectives? And let's look at the various ways we can achieve that. But it is absolutely true. Since I first lived in Puna in the early 70s, Pahoa is a very unique place. It's gone through a lot of changes over the years, from when its sidewalks were first built in the cross days in the 19th century, right on through the sugar cane and papaya that I saw in the 70s, on to the changes it has today. It's certainly a place that we don't want to let just get run over and lose a lot of the historic value of it. It has a lot to offer yet, and I look forward to working with the people, the merchants, and the residents of Pahoa to find out what they want and help them achieve it.
Great. Another thing that I was thinking about, and this is my last one on Puna issues, and then I'd like to open it up for other things. You maybe have some ideas that I don't really know about. Classrooms in Puna. I know I started doing some online classes from Puna, and that kind of jettisoned me into wanting to go to higher education, and so that's how that all worked out. And I was wondering if there was any kind of push. Now there's not very many jobs. I'm sure this is a great time to be pushing people like myself who didn't really go to college the first time, or also just older people who want to learn a trade and be certified in that. Are you going to be kind of pushing the education that's available in Hilo, or is that part of your goals here?
I think that education is very important. Clearly, in my own life, it's made a great difference. I was the first person in my family to graduate from college, and on either side of the family. And so it's been very important in my life in helping me achieve things that I would not have been able to otherwise. There have been some proposals put forward to do some Hawaii Community College classes in Pahoa. I would very much be keen to see that happen.
They had what was it, English classes? I think that they started off doing just a couple to see if it was going to work. What happened with that? I didn't really follow that.
I would not be able to tell you sitting here today, because when the idea first came up, actually my wife has taught English at community college and university here, and I have taught economics, and we both said, hey, we'll teach a class. Sure. In our respective areas, and we haven't had the opportunity to yet. But we're very supportive of it. And I would give you one example. during the Puna Community Development Plan, I was the convener for the Agriculture Working Group. And this was made up of folks from really a nice mix of walks of life around, including some commercial farmers and some people of just a general interest. And absolutely, one of the things that all the commercial farmers agreed on, right up front, was important to them, was being able to hire people that were trained and capable. And I explained, well, generally the county doesn't work in education. Well, they wouldn't have a bar of it. They said, we need people who are capable and well educated. They don't need just to know about plants, but they need to know how to communicate. They need to know how to handle money. And I said, well, if that's that important to you, we're going to put it in the plan. And we did. And I'm hoping to see that come to fruition with the Community Development Plan. And offering some training opportunities. And I think the idea of bringing the community college to Pahoa for night or evening classes or something would fit in real well.
Are there issues that you have seen behind the scenes that I might not know about, others may not know about?
A few issues I could point to that I think have come up, and that in a way parallel what you're talking about with regards, for example, Pahoa. One of the things that came out of the Puna Community Development Plan was the idea for a business incubator in Pahoa. This is where a small business with an idea, an entrepreneur could get started. Some of their overhead would be covered in a shared facility so that they'll have a year or two to get their business up and going.
Oh.
Many small businesses don't survive past the first year.
Right.
And so business incubators have been shown to be very helpful around other places. So that's one idea that came out of the planning process. Whether it's carried forward in the plan or not, I intend to help implement it in one way or the other. Another issue that's very important to people in Puna is the Puna coast. We have some beautiful coastline there. Mm-hmm. We don't have the shimmering white beaches. We got a couple of lovely, one good white black sand beach and another one forming.
Yeah.
But we've got some beautiful coastline, and people who live there really appreciate it. It's a great draw to our visitors that come to Puna. Our coastline is. And we need to make sure that we take care of it. We keep it where the public has access to the coastline, and that we steward it. We have many places that they may not be pristine, but they're very near to it. And we do have a few places where we're already seeing problems, and we need to address those and make it the sort of thing that we can be proud of and tell anybody that this is a beautiful place to visit and to swim.
Excellent. Well, I think we're gonna end up talking a little bit about rapid fire questions here.
Okay.
And these aren't necessarily policy questions, but I know it's nice to get a general idea of who this guy is. So just real quick, what do you think? GMOs. You think hell no Monsanto, or please pass GMO?
The Hawaii County has already prohibited the growing or testing, field testing of coffee and taro that are GMO. We have already done that. And we did that at the request of farmers. They were the ones who initiated this. I am confident that if there are any other crops being produced on this island where the producers come forward, like the taro and coffee producers did, and say, we want to keep GMO out, we should prioritize that and expedite that prohibition. In the next step, we need to take a real careful look at whether we want to allow research companies to come in and start planting GMOs. It being an island, we have a unique opportunity to be able to keep them out if we think that that's to our advantage. Many of the markets around the world, like Japan, like the European Union, are prohibiting the food being brought into their territories that is grown from GMOs. So we don't want to lose sight of this.
Right.
It can be an environmental issue in terms of escape, but up front it is definitely a market issue that we don't want to lose our markets. So at this particular point, I think we need to take the step forward, expedite anything that particular growers want, and look at ways to really control the GMOs. I don't think we need to do testing here, okay? And again, that's my personal opinion. I'm going to be very closely listening to what the community has to say.